Have you ever wondered which are the poorest countries in Africa? Africa, the world's second largest continent, is a tapestry of nations that vary widely in their wealth and development. One key indicator often used to gauge a country's prosperity is the gross national income or GNI per capita. This measures the total income earned by a country's residents, divided by its population, giving us a snapshot of the average wealth of each individual. However, this doesn't capture the whole picture as it doesn't account for income inequality within countries, which can be vastly different even within the same region. Another important measure is GDP per capita, which provides an estimate of the total value of all goods and services produced over a specific time period per person. These two measures together help us understand a country's economic status. So, let's dive deep into the heart of Africa and discover the top 10 poorest countries. Starting at the very bottom of the list, we find Western Sahara. This region, marked by decades of conflict and dispute, has a gross national income per capita of a mere $56. Yes, you heard that right, just $56. This is a stark reflection of the harsh socio-economic conditions the residents of Western Sahara have to grapple with daily. The region's economy is heavily reliant on agriculture, fishing, and phosphate mining, but these sectors are not robust enough to pull the region out of poverty. The ongoing territorial dispute with Morocco further exacerbates the economic instability, deterring potential investors and hindering economic development. Additionally, the region is plagued by high unemployment rates and a lack of basic services, further deepening the poverty levels. This combination of factors has led to Western Sahara being trapped in a poverty cycle that is extremely difficult to break. Thus, Western Sahara holds the unfortunate title of the poorest country in Africa. Moving on up, we arrive in Burundi. This small landlocked country in East Africa has a gross national income per capita of just $220. Its GDP per capita isn't much higher, at $222. Burundi's economy faces significant challenges. Agriculture, which employs the majority of the population, remains underdeveloped due to a lack of modern farming techniques and infrastructure. Furthermore, the country's small industrial sector is constrained by a scarcity of natural resources and a low level of investment. Political instability and a lack of access to education further compound these economic problems. Burundi's GDP, a mere $3 billion, is a stark reflection of these challenges. Despite these hurdles, the people of Burundi show resilience and a spirit of endurance, a testament to their strength in the face of adversity. However, the economic reality remains that Burundi, therefore, is the second poorest country in Africa. Next on our list is Somalia. With a gross national income per capita of just $430 and a gross domestic product per capita of $447, Somalia's economic situation is far from ideal. The country's economy is primarily based on livestock, agriculture, telecommunications, and money transfer services. But unfortunately, these sectors have been severely affected by ongoing conflict and instability. Somalia's economy has been struggling for several decades, with civil war, political instability, and natural disasters such as droughts and floods all contributing to the country's poverty. The lack of a stable government and the presence of armed conflict have made development and economic growth incredibly challenging. Moreover, limited access to basic services, poor infrastructure, and high unemployment rates further exacerbate the situation. Despite these challenges, Somalia has shown resilience and a desire to improve its situation. Yet, the road to economic recovery is long and fraught with obstacles. Hence, Somalia ranks third in our list of poorest African countries. As we progress, we encounter the Central African Republic and Mozambique. The Central African Republic, or CAR as it's often called, is a landlocked country in the heart of Africa. The gross national income per capita here is $480. This is a measure of the total income earned by the nation's residents, divided by its population. The GDP per capita, which represents the average economic output per person, is slightly lower at $461. These low figures are a reflection of the economic challenges CAR faces, which include political instability, a lack of infrastructure, and an economy highly dependent on agriculture, which is vulnerable to weather conditions and price fluctuations. Now, let's shift our focus to the southeast coast of Africa, where we find Mozambique. Like the Central African Republic, Mozambique also has a gross national income per capita of $480. However, its GDP per capita is slightly higher at $492. Despite its natural resources, including coal and natural gas, Mozambique's economy struggles due to high inflation, a large external debt, and a high dependence on agriculture. The country's economy also experienced a severe setback due to the devastating effects of two cyclones in 2019. Both these countries, despite their geographical differences, share common economic challenges. They both have large rural populations dependent on agriculture, making them vulnerable to climate change and global commodity price fluctuations. Their economies also suffer from a lack of diversification, making them vulnerable to economic shocks. However, it's important to remember that these figures and the economic challenges we've discussed do not define these countries or their people. They are rich in culture, history, and potential, and with the right policies and international support, there's hope for improved economic conditions in the future. This brings us halfway through our list with Central African Republic and Mozambique. Moving further, we come across Madagascar, Sierra Leone, and the Democratic Republic of the Congo. First, let's turn our attention to Madagascar, an island nation known for its unique biodiversity, but unfortunately, it's also marked by significant economic challenges. The gross national income per capita of Madagascar is $490, while its gross domestic product per capita stands at $501. The country's GDP is estimated to be around $14 billion. Despite its natural wealth, Madagascar struggles with political instability, weak infrastructure, and a lack of access to quality education, all of which contribute to its economic woes. Moving on to Sierra Leone, a country that despite its wealth in diamonds still grapples with poverty. The gross national income per capita is $500, slightly higher than Madagascar, and the GDP per capita is $480. Sierra Leone's GDP is estimated at $4 billion. The country's economic challenges are deeply rooted in its history, particularly the devastating civil war that lasted over a decade. Despite the end of the conflict, the country still faces significant hurdles, including corruption, inadequate infrastructure, and limited access to quality healthcare and education. Lastly, we delve into the Democratic Republic of the Congo, a country with vast natural resources, yet it's one of the poorest in the world. The gross national income per capita is $550, and the GDP per capita stands at $577. The DRC's GDP is a staggering $55 billion. Despite its rich mineral resources, the DRC struggles with numerous economic challenges, including political instability, weak governance, and lack of infrastructure. Additionally, ongoing conflicts have displaced large numbers of people, further straining the country's resources. And with that, we are left with the final two countries on our list. Finally, we reach Niger and Eritrea. These two countries, although distinct in their cultural and historical backgrounds, share a common thread of economic hardship. Niger, a landlocked country in West Africa, has a gross national income per capita of $590. When we look at the gross domestic product per capita, it's nearly identical at $591. The disparity is minuscule, indicating a relatively even distribution of income across the country's residents. However, this does not change the fact that Niger's economy is struggling. The nation's reliance on subsistence farming and livestock rearing, which are vulnerable to climatic conditions and market fluctuations, contributes to its economic instability. Turning our attention to Eritrea, this country in the Horn of Africa faces its own set of economic challenges. With a gross national income per capita of $610 and a GDP per capita of $644, Eritrea's economic indicators are slightly better than Niger's. However, this doesn't paint the full picture. The country's economy is primarily based on subsistence agriculture, which employs a significant portion of the population but contributes little to the overall GDP. Additionally, Eritrea's economic development has been hindered by a lack of foreign investment and ongoing conflicts with its neighbors. This has resulted in a scarcity of resources and opportunities, pushing many Eritreans to leave their homeland in search of better prospects. Both Niger and Eritrea are grappling with substantial economic hurdles. The common thread here is the reliance on subsistence farming and the challenge of transitioning to a more diversified and resilient economic model. Despite these hardships, the spirit of resilience and determination found in these countries is undeniable. With Niger and Eritrea, we conclude our list of the top 10 poorest countries in Africa. It's crucial to remember that these figures are not a measure of the people's worth or potential. They are a call to action, a reminder of the work that remains to be done to achieve economic equity and prosperity for all. So, there you have it. We've journeyed through the top 10 poorest nations in Africa, from Western Sahara with a gross national income per capita of $56 to Eritrea with $610. These countries, which also include Burundi, Somalia, the Central African Republic, Mozambique, Madagascar, Sierra Leone, the Democratic Republic of the Congo, and Niger, face numerous economic challenges. Many deal with issues such as low productivity, limited access to credit, and high levels of debt. Others grapple with political instability, conflict, and corruption. Yet despite these hurdles, these nations continue to strive for economic growth and development, seeking innovative solutions to the issues they face. Let's not forget, these countries, while economically disadvantaged, are bursting with rich culture, history, and untapped potential. With the right kind of investments, policies, and global cooperation, they have the ability to overcome poverty and stride towards prosperity. While these countries may be economically disadvantaged, they are rich in culture, history, and potential. With the right investments and policies, they can overcome poverty and move towards prosperity.